Hi, I'm James Stanley, co-artistic director of the National Theatre of the United States of America, and I'm here with company member Normandy Sherwood to tell you about our upcoming piece, The Golden Veil. For those of you who aren't familiar with us, the NTUSA is a Brooklyn-based collaborative which builds spectacular works of theater for traditional and non-traditional spaces. There are 4 multidisciplinary artists at the creative core of the company, and we come together in different assemblages as writers, directors, designers, and performers based on the needs of each project. And we draw further support from a wider community of collaborators, most of whom we've been working with for the past 10 years. We make our work by digging deep into the wells of American history and culture. In particular, we like to dig up and explode distinctly American forms of entertainment, mashing them together into new theatrical forms and bringing them to bear on contemporary issues. But most of all, we try to create a visceral experience for each audience member by making intimate, impossible, imaginary worlds, by creating moments that you will never forget. The Golden Veil is in mid-development. We're collecting visual data, we have a script to work with, and we're beginning to design and build the physical world of the show. That world will draw on the same senses of intimacy and spectacle that you saw in shows past. Normandy, who's writing the show, will tell you a bit more about it now.
The Golden Veil is about poverty, specifically the ways that artists engage with poverty, not only as a subject for representation but as an ideological tenet and an inescapable reality. It is also about Europe, specifically our American fascination with and misunderstanding of traditional European culture and folklore. And it is also about narrative, specifically our human need to find value and beauty in the most terrible of experiences through recounting and revising them. The show is conceived as an epic microspectacle that conjures the energy of a rock concert and the intimacy of a ghost story. Performed by a small cast on a tiny set and utilizing darkness, silence, and plaintive songs, The Golden Veil will transport us to a beautiful, dangerous, imaginary vision of our Western past. We use the language of Americana to represent an American vision of a European story, drawing on the feel and image of the cold New England town, the ghostly frontier, and the spiritualist parlor to create a picaresque pastoral romance / Hardy-esque rural tragedy. Part pastoral ballet and part backwoods jamboree, part Punch and Judy show and part forlorn testimony, part bleak exposé of the lives of the rural poor and part celebration of their lovely handicrafts, The Golden Veil presents different iterations of a familiar seduced and abandoned tale in order to explore the ways that we use narrative to render the painful picturesque and to uncover the dark underbelly of our nostalgia for simpler times. This tale, the story of a poor shepherdess who is seduced by a would-be inventor, an amorous ne'er-do-well, takes as its point of departure the tension between the semi-contemporaneous European literary forms of the Pastoral Romance and the Cautionary Tale. The Pastoral Romance, a tradition which runs through European literature and art, and which was defined by the critic William Empson as art that is about the people, but is not by or for them, often concerns itself with the virtues and erotic charms of the poor, simple folk, often shepherdesses. The Cautionary Tale, defined by literary scholar Maria Tatar as a narrative in which a prohibition is violated and then the violator is punished, often concerns itself with the vices and weaknesses of the poor, simple folk, often unmarried women, shepherdesses. The Golden Veil explores, on the one hand, the romanticization of the poor, evoking notions of purity, the simple life, and the triumph of the underdog, and on the other hand, the ways in which the poor were understood as tragic victims of their own moral deprivation or some essential flaw in character or genetics. The show will be played on a simple set by 4 performers. The organizing aesthetic is pre-industrial, with elaborate handmade costumes and props and a set like a fantastical oversized jewel box, which keeps unfolding as the world of the story shifts from context to context. And it's being scored with original music inspired by the Library of Congress's wax cylinder field recordings of the late 1800s.
We're approaching The Golden Veil as a piece of material culture, and the show will be surrounded and infused with the ephemera, the traces that such artifacts leave behind. A record, a book of poetry, an academic treatise, various art objects, which will all be available to audiences at the show and online. The Golden Veil is being written by Normandy Sherwood with original music by Jesse Hawley. It will be designed by the company and co-directed by myself and Yehuda Duenas, with additional direction by Ryan Bronze. The cast will include Jesse Hawley, Ian Sheehy, and Matt Kalman. The show is set to premiere at the Kitchen in April of 2012 and will be available for touring thereafter. It will have a touring company of no more than 6. However, a live musical component with an additional cast of 3 will be available if the venue desires. We'll be doing various workshops throughout the year, so please sign our mailing list so that we can keep you informed. Stay tuned for a medley of songs in development for the show, and on behalf of the NTUSA, we thank you for your time.
I went down by the river, didn't see a man there. I went down by the river, wasn't anyone there. There was only the river. It's a monster, yes, from the great abyss. Come to take me to where the trees don't move. Come to pick me up where I'm floating on the sad black sea.
Bright snowy winters and summer sunshine, but this day I cannot know not one single day. There are grasses of emeralds in the fields where I'll lay. Will you stay?
No,
Stay.
no,
If you leave,
I'll be broken.
Will you stay?
No,
Stay.
no,
Don't leave me
alone. Born underneath a dark cloud, born underneath a mystery. Will my end be swift or loud? Oh, golden sun, please wait for me. The bird flew over frozen seas, fly